Hello and welcome to Precontation Points video Snark. I'm making my way through Born at Midnight by CC Hunter. If you haven't seen the other videos, you might want to do that before jumping into this one, or else you might be confused. Links will be posted below. Chapter 19. As you probably already guessed, the person who yells at Derek was Lucas. His yell startles Kylie and she almost tumbles off from the rock. Derek and Kylie are quick to explain that there's a snake and that everything's fine now. Lucas seems to understand exactly what's going on as he saw how Derek calmed Kylie down. So I guess that I'm on Team Lucas now? If only because my only other option is a guy who literally is emotionally manipulating Kylie to want him. After Lucas storms off, Kylie asks Derek about his powers. I guess getting her away from the situation, if only for a brief second, was enough to shake some sense back into her. She also asks how he knew about the snake, but he says that he felt the snake only a brief second before Kylie jumped off the rock, or else he would have warned her about it sooner. He goes on to say that he came to camp to learn how to shut his powers off, although Holiday is disappointed with his personal quest. Which, dude, it's not your power and it's not your decision to make. Kylie says that there are worse powers to have. He thinks that she's talking about seeing ghosts, but she was thinking of Della, which brings her back to the blood issue again, and we pick right back up where this argument left off. He continues to insist that it's not a big deal and goes on to say that this is hardly the first time that he's given blood to a vampire before. He explains that he went to school with a vampire and that they knew that the other was different because of the mind-reading thing. As Kylie thinks about their ability to read other supernatural creatures, she thinks that maybe she isn't like them simply because she can't do that. Upon asking if there are a lot of supernaturals and if Kylie could have gone to school with some, Derek explains that a lot of them use their gifts to become wealthy. Furthermore, a lot of them consider themselves so different from humans that they would prefer to send their children to species-specific schools to learn their own history rather than, what's this smudged writing on my hand say? World War II, whatever that is. But since Derek's dad was a deadbeat, Derek ended up attending a normal human school. Kylie asks about the vampire girl Derek went to school with and if they were close, but she immediately answers her own question with yes because Derek had given her blood, but Derek said that he and the vampire broke up 6 months earlier because she met a werewolf, even though they're supposed to be mortal enemies, but whatever. Enough about a character who probably won't appear in this series. Kylie then brings up Derek's power of changing people's emotions with a touch. Much like my initial reaction towards the entire thing, Kylie suddenly realizes what he can do and is horrified and disgusted. She asks if he's done it to her on other occasions and not just when the snake appeared. Derek gets angry and says that maybe it's just because she actually likes him too. But it's really hard to take this guy's side in anything. How would you know that any of your emotions towards him were real? Like, literally all the time. That would be horrifying. Kylie presses the issue of if he's ever used his powers to get a girl to like him. He refuses the question at first, but eventually says that he's used it from time to time to simply get the girl's attention, but never anything further, because apparently forcing a girl to sleep with him through fabricated emotions is a line that not even he would cross. She heard the hurt in his voice. Instant embarrassment shot through her and she realized what a cold she was being. I still stand by my earlier statement. How do you know that you're doing this because you actually want to and not because he's telling you that you're in love with him? I don't think that Kylie is wrong to feel angry with Derek using his powers to get chicks. She then friend zones him and says literally what I just finished saying, that she doesn't trust him in any of her emotions when she's around him. She goes on to justify her decision as more than just his powers and explains that the last thing that she wants or needs right now is a rebound relationship with a guy who reminds her of her ex, on top of everything else that's going on in her life right now. But what she does need is a friend. Derek accepts this. Kylie says that she still doesn't know where to begin with her quest to uncover the truth about herself. Derek says that he thinks that he has an idea of something that she can try. Also, I just checked the page numbers, and how the hell are we 40% finished with this book? Literally nothing is happening. There's no plot. There's not really much of a struggle. So what exactly is the point? It's 118 degrees today. Please send help. Chapter 20. Derek tells Kylie about another one of the Fae who was at the camp named Helen. She told the other Fae earlier that when her sister had a tumor, she felt it long before the doctors even knew about it. Derek is certain that Kylie doesn't have a tumor, but thinks that it'll help reassure her that there's nothing physically wrong with her if Helen could check her out. Kylie then has to remind herself that, despite the fact that she did want to kiss Derek, they can only be friends right now. Kylie has a moment before her meeting with Holiday and she wants to call Sarah. She tries to go to her hiding spot behind the camp office, but finds Lucas and some random girl making out back there. When she gets out to the front of the office, she finds Della and Miranda fighting over something. I'm honestly struggling to care at this point if we're being truthful. Kylie tries to get them to break it up when she sees Sky coming over but fails to do so. Sky comes over and asks what they're fighting about. Della accuses Miranda of having spilled some of the blood in the fridge, but Miranda denies this. Sky reminds Miranda that since this isn't her first year at the camp, that she expects better from her and that they're going to have to work their differences out in private or else the counselors will get involved. Which, isn't that the entire point of having camp counselors, to help the kids work stuff out? Della tries to ask Kylie what happened between her and Derek, but the girl Lucas had been making out with comes out from behind the cabin. She shoots a look at Kylie that gives her an instant headache, but firmly reinforces the idea in Kylie's mind that she does have a brain tumor. Della brings the subject back up again, although Kylie quickly brings up their fight, which they insist is not a big deal and that this isn't Kylie's world anymore. Kylie then says that she has to go meet Holiday and starts to walk away. Della calls Kylie back and says that she has something important to tell Kylie. After an infuriating back and forth between them where Della refuses to tell Kylie, she finally gets to the point. She heard that the men in the suits are with the FBI and that they want to talk with Kylie. Della is certain that this isn't about her cousin. Della goes on to say that they think that because they can't read Kylie, that it must mean that she's hiding something. However, Holiday apparently stood up for Kylie, but they still want to talk to her. Della says that Holiday is coming to find Kylie then, but before Kylie can move, Soldier Dude shows up. Kylie is almost too afraid to look at him since the last time she did, she passed out. Holiday gets between her and Soldier Dude, and Kylie asks if Holiday can make the guy leave her alone, but Holiday insists that it doesn't work like that. She then asks if Kylie is ready, and now Kylie thinks that she's going to go talk to the FRU guys. She asks if Della can come, but Holiday says that the vampires are doing something somewhere else, and so the two of them leave together. Chapter 21. Holiday tells Kylie that some people want to meet her, people from the FRU. Kylie then inwardly dubs them as Freaks R Us. Holiday goes on to say that they're curious about Kylie and says that the patterns that they're reading from Kylie are rare. Holiday then uses her own Fae powers to change Kylie's fear. Kylie instantly senses this, either as part of her own power or simply because of her recent experiences with Derek. Either way, it pisses Kylie off something fierce and makes her think that she does have reason to be afraid. In the room, the two men try again to read Kylie, but she feels like she's being too nice and letting them try once again. They're introduced as Berna and Austin. Please don't ask about that one name because I have no idea. They ask Kylie why she came to the camp. Holiday tries to answer for Kylie, but they want to hear from Kylie. The longer it goes on, the more angry Holiday gets until she starts dropping profanities at them. This leads to Holiday yelling at them that just because they have a badge doesn't give them the right to come into the camp and start acting like they own everything. Finally, they return their attention to Kylie and ask if she's ever been in trouble before. However, they bring up the incident which convinced Kylie's mom to ship her off to the camp, but Kylie is pissed off and says, "You'd think if you were able to get your hands on that report, you'd have at least read it, because I'm sure it stated that I was not doing drugs or drinking." Kylie says that all of this is new to her, which kind of forces her to admit that she knows about supernaturals, because, duh, that was the first thing that happened when they got to the camp. How could she not know? Austin seems kind of freaked out to learn that they think Kylie can talk to ghosts, but the other one isn't. They ask if Kylie could be a fairy and then wonder about her parents. They suggest Kylie's parents are rogues, but Holiday is quick to point out that if this was true, her parents would not have sent her to the camp. They seem to think that Kylie has been sent to the camp with a mission, which Kylie says that she wasn't. The one who is a vampire says that this is true, and then they ask Holiday to keep them updated about Kylie. Both women protest to this, but the FRU guys throw their position of power around and insist that if Holiday doesn't do this, then they'll replace her with somebody who will follow orders. The guys then want to look over some files with Holiday, despite her insistence that she's supposed to have a meeting with Kylie. They insist that it'll have to be rescheduled for later because they need to find this evidence now. Holiday is just upset that they seem to think that this whatever is being caused by one of the kids at the camp. Kylie is curious about all of this, but she knows when to get out, so she goes. She wonders how she'll find Helen the Healer Fairy when she gets a text from Sarah that says that the text came back negative, which, girl, just because you're a few days late for your period does not mean that you're pregnant. Chill out and wait 2 weeks. Chances are good that it'll start before that 2-week wait is over. Just then somebody comes up to her. And, damn it, we don't have to end every freaking chapter on a cliffhanger. Okay, thanks, bye. Thanks for listening to my book Snark on YouTube. If you enjoy my videos, please hit that subscribe button. I post a new Snark video every Monday. Don't forget to check out my other video Snark of Stalking Jack the Ripper and The Plan. If you've already seen those, then you can head over to Tumblr for my main book Snarks. And if all of that is somehow still not enough for you, then you can become my Patreon supporter for just $1 a month and read a bunch of bonus Snarks that aren't up anywhere else. See you next week, guys.